it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for January 2025. So on January 8th, we're going to have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves, finally moving out of the Sagittarius energy that we've been in for an exceptionally long time due to Mercury's retrograde in the Sag energy, finally moving out of that energy into something a little bit more stable, a little bit more grounded, a little bit more realistic in Capricorn energy. So of course, I'm going to encourage you to download the January energy guide written for your zodiac sign if you haven't already. If you do have it in front of you, it's time to flip to this particular chapter in the workbook. We're going to want to capture the shift in our mental plane, in our focus, in our inner dialogue, in our inner narrative. There is going to be a dramatic shift in our headspace due to the Capricorn energy. First of all, it's a cardinal energy. Cardinal energies are the time in which we change. We change seasons, we change paths, we change directions. In Capricorn energy, this is an earth energy. So this is going to have a major impact on our physical realms, on our daily lives. Now, granted, Capricorn energy is definitely thinking about the long term as far as our goals, our visions, our dreams go. We have to take a logical, practical, rational approach to where it is that we want to end up and figuring out how to break it down into smaller, more manageable pieces so that we can actually achieve something, see some progress here. Now, granted, we're still in Capricorn season. Granted, we're still in a closing and ending chapter. And so a lot of this particular energy is going to be thinking about where it is that we would like to end up, the desired outcome, if you will, and kind of doing what needs to be done to wrap up the old, to remove, release the old, where people, places, things, situations, and circumstances are concerned, in order to free up the space and free up our energy to pour into the new in which we want to be building. Now, of course, there is a lot of cardinal energy popping off in the astrology here in the cosmos, which means that we have been gifted with information and details. Certain situations and circumstances have presented themselves that kind of gives us a good indicator that things have to change. That's what cardinal energy is. It's being presented with information and details that kind of present a situation and circumstance that staying where it is that we're at is going to put us in stagnancy, in a state of paralyzation, if you will. And of course, none of us want that. We want things to be different. We want to grow. We want to evolve. We want to heal. And we want to manifest. Capricorn energy is manifesting energy. Because Mercury's involved, whatever it is that we're focused on, good, bad, or otherwise, is what we are manifesting, what we're bringing to life, what we are building, what we're creating. Thus, another reason to kind of get your shit together, to definitely have power and control over your thoughts, because if you're not careful, you're going to be kind of creating and manifesting situations based out of fear, doubt, insecurity, anxiety, and worry, which is never fun. Now, the shift into this Capricorn energy definitely going to slow the pace down, considering the fact that in that Sag energy, regardless of whether it was retrograde or not, we were scatterbrained. We were ADHD squirrel brain, bouncing from one thought to the next, trying to stay optimistic, trying to stay positive with our hopes, our wishes, our dreams, but there was no actual, let's call it, rationality to it. It was just a hope, a wish, a dream. Now, in Capricorn energy, we take that hope, wish, and dream, and if we're actually aligned with it, if it's invoking the right kind of emotional reaction within us where our higher self is actually being called to do or pursue this particular idea, hope, wish, or dream, the Capricorn energy is going to provide structure, provide a plan, provide logic and practicality, where piecing together what needs to be done is eventually going to illuminate our ability to manifest the situation and circumstance of our desired outcome. So caution here, of course, Saturn rules over the Capricorn energy. Saturn is, karmic life lessons, tough love life lessons, and a little bit of a reality check. There is a tendency for us to get a little bit serious, a little bit somber, if you will. And of course, That shouldn't be a bad thing. If you want to make dramatic changes in your life, you have to approach it with an element of seriousness and somberness. We got to get our shit together. We got to get organized here. And although that is a favorable aspect for us to be leaning into, if you take it too far, you're going to be a Debbie Downer. You're going to be a negative Nancy. You're going to create all kinds of anxiety-ridden concepts that, of course, going to have you pessimistic as F, and therefore manifesting a situation and circumstance out of that particular energy, which is not going to be fun. We're going to shift into a more methodical way of looking at our lives, looking at what needs to be done, what needs to be released, what needs to be brought to an ending, to a closure point, in order for us to then shift, again, cardinal energy, time to pivot, and start methodically thinking about how we're going to make the changes, the improvements that we know that we need to make. So compared to the Sag energy, first of all, it's going to be so much easier to concentrate on one thing at a time. And of course, the Capricorn energy, where it is an earth energy, is the taskmaster, if you will. And so we're about to get organized. We're about to get shit done. The clarity that is coming at us in our headspace makes it very clear for us to understand executive function, what needs to be done first, priorities, what needs to be addressed first. And of course, it's pretty hard to build a new house on a existing foundation that still has, again, the structure that is falling apart that we need to remove before we have a clean slate to build something new. Now, Mercury also rules over our communication style, and we are very blunt, very to the point. We're only talking about things that actually matter. We aren't going to be as, let's call it, emotionally driven as we would be under some other influences. We're very realistic, sometimes too realistic, sometimes so realistic that it can get a little bit dark, a little bit bleak. We are approaching everything, even our emotional sector of our lives, like a business deal, because that's what Capricorn energy is all about. And so our thought patterns, our communication styles, what we're focused on, all becomes a little bit more organized, a little bit more clear, a little bit more logical, a little bit more, I'm going to say, down to earth, and is just definitely going to help us focus in on what actually needs to be focused upon. So it's very easy for us to kind of take information coming at us or looking at an existing situation and circumstance. And it's very easy for us to kind of deem what is important, what is relevant, and to cut the bullshit and therefore remove what does not matter. And so our overall mood and attitude is like, we're not messing around. This is not a time to kind of deal with nonsense. This is a time for us to boss up, for us to do better, to be better, for us to get very clear on our intentions, on our goals, and actually formulate a plan on how we're going to bring this baby to life. And so again, because Capricorn energy is very focused on the long term, there's a lot of projection, throwing our energy into a goal, vision, and dream that we want to be living, and then bringing that projected energy back into the present moment, figuring out how it is that we feel about it, and analyzing what is blocking us from actually getting there. That goes on the to-do list. We got to do something about it. And again, we're in an ending and a closure chapter. So again, a lot of the action, a lot of the thought, a lot of the planning, a lot of the strategizing is first going to be aimed at what do we have to remove, what do we have to put an ending to, again, before we can fully invest all of our time, energy, and attention on building something new. So we're not messing around. We want to get to the point. We're not really, in the mood to be messing around, talking about hypotheticals, unless it is very anchored and grounded into logic and practicality. We are very, let's call it, cautious with our emotions. We are very guarded where our emotions are concerned as well, because emotions aren't really needed at this particular juncture of planning and exercising said actions in order to align with goals, visions, and dreams. We have enough emotion creeping up because of Mars's retrograde and Cancer energy. We really don't need our mental plane focused on emotions either. There is a time and a place. And especially in Capricorn energy, we tackle things like it's a business proposition, like it's a business contract. And until our business is done, until we're making some progress here, until we're seeing some materialized aspects actually take place in our physical realm, there's not really a downtime. We're not really open, if you will, to dabbling into that emotional realm. So we do have to be a little bit cautious of taking this seriousness, this somberness, a little bit too far. We could, because of this Capricorn energy, be very rigid, not only in our thinking, but in our behaviors and our patterns. Again, we don't really want to come off as cold and harsh, but that is the mood, that's the vibe. And so we do have to kind of find that sweet spot between being realistic and being a negative Nancy. There is a line there. We also need to find the line between, again, thinking about our future selves and still honoring our present day selves. We have to find the line between acting as if this is a business and still understanding that there are emotions that we do have to address in our personal lives. Not everything is as clean cut as a business contract would be. There is a high level of dark humor, a high level of sarcasm in our communication style because that's Capricorn energy. And when it comes to the way that we want to do things, or the way that we think we should do things, or the way that we think that things need to be done, we're a little bit stubborn with that particular understanding. And once we kind of align with the particular idea, with the plan, with the strategy, it's very hard to kind of sway us off of our path. So this is going to be a great time for us to get our shit together, to get organized, to adopt a different mood and an attitude, to make some solid, let's call it anchored, grounded, realistic plans, and to actually start, gaining some momentum in being able to take action upon them. And so this is a time where, again, where Capricorn energy is concerned, this is about our roles and responsibilities, especially to ourselves to do better, to be better, but also to those that we've made obligations and commitments to, and to our higher selves, to actually tap into our higher selves and be able to create the framework needed in order to bring our goals, our visions, our dreams to life.